What's up? My name is Mr. J3T, aka Big Sexy, aka the World Class Badass, aka the Kentucky Cannon, aka Black Lightning with a peanut butter filling, aka Chocolate Thunder with a caramel swirl, aka the Man of the Century, aka your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber, aka the Houdini of Sexy, aka the Sunday Night Delight. Yep, the Sunday Night Delight. That's me. I talk about movies, video games, cartoons, anime, and today we're actually going to be talking about wrestling. Yeah, because I'm a wrestling fan too. Uh, I got a wrestling shirt on, and we're going to be talking about AEW Full Gear. So, AEW is a wrestling company that started in 2019, I believe. It was founded by Cody Rhodes, who was a former WWE wrestler, but he quit the company and he went on to the Indies and he started All Elite Wrestling. That's what AEW stands for, All Elite Wrestling, with the Young Bucks, a tag team called the Young Bucks. So uh, that's the brief history of All Elite Wrestling. And so they just had a pay per view yesterday. It's called Full Gear, and it had some awesome matches. So I'm not gonna tell any of you to watch it because I don't know if any of you are interested in wrestling. But if you are interested in wrestling, and if you do like wrestling, I highly recommend seeking out this pay per view to watch it because, in my opinion, it's probably like one of the best pay per views in 2020. Like, because this pay per view had some great matches. We finally got the dream match, FTR versus the Young Bucks. Both of them are a tag team, by the way. This was later. This was literally like years in the making, and I believe it lived up to the hype. But I'm not gonna talk about the pre-show because I didn't watch the pre-show. But our first opening, we kick off with Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega for the number one contendership for the AEW Championship. So this feud is one of the best going on. Feud is between wrestlers, two wrestlers. I just realized that I'm gonna have to explain wrestler talk and a lot of wrestling talk in this video for the people that don't understand. So, yeah, I just realized that. So, feud is between like two wrestlers who are fighting. So, this has started when Hangman Page and Kenny Omega started off as a tag team, right? But they lost the tag team championships to FTR. So FTR is the current, or was the current, or not was the current. They were the AEW Tag Team Champions. Spoilers for the FTR Young Bucks match. But so they lost the championships, and they pretty much split up. But they kind of split up somewhat amicably because usually when it comes to tag teams and wrestling, they break up hostile. Either one guy attacks the other guy, and that's how they usually break up. But if this breakup was between Hangman and Kenny Omega was somewhat amicable, like it was somewhat peaceful. Nobody turned on the other one. One guy, Kenny Omega, didn't turn on Hangman, and Hangman didn't turn on Kenny. They didn't attack each other, basically, which is rare in wrestling because usually when tag teams break up, it is much more hostile. So, in fact, this is like the first time that they fought. It wasn't because of some blood feud. It's not like they hate each other. They're only fighting each other because of the tournament. So, during this match, it's a really good match. It's a great way to open up the show to get people hyped and sucked in. And it eventually ends when Hangman He's in position for the one-winged angel, which is Kenny Omega's finisher. A finishing move, by the way, is the wrestler's, finisher. The thing a wrestler does to finish off a match, that's a finisher. So the one-winged angel is Kenny Omega's finisher, and Hangman is unfortunate to find himself in that situation. So Hangman's fighting off Kenny Omega. He's like waving his head, but eventually Kenny gets the one-winged angel, and 1, 2, 3, Hangman's beat, and Kenny goes on to face the AEW World Champion Jon Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose in the WWE. So, all in all, this match was really good. It was very it was really evenly matched. No one, each one didn't have the advantage for long over the other. It was really evenly matched, and it was very hard hitting because there were just so many chops in this one match alone. And later in the night, when Kenny Omega reappears, you can actually see that his chest is all bruised up because of all those chops. His chest looks like raw meat. So there were a lot of nasty sounding chops. And there was a scary point where Hangman gives Kenny Omega a pop-up powerbomb on the apron, and it looked nasty. You can actually see Kenny's head just whiplash like that, just bounce off like the canvas, and it looked nasty. But that didn't stop Kenny, because he ended up winning the match, and he just walks off to the back, and Hangman is just sitting there. He's sad, understandably. He just lost the match. And his current character is that he's alcoholic, basically. He drinks a lot. And so, with this loss, you already know he's going to be reaching for that whiskey and just getting wasted. So, that was the opening match. Great match. If I had to grade it, I give it like 4 stars out of 5. It was a really great match to start off the show. And moving on, we have John Silver from the faction known as Dark Order, and we have Orange Cassidy from the group called the Best Friends, which consists of Trent Beretta and Chucky T, or Chuck Taylor. So this match came about when John Silver cost Orange Cassidy a shot at the TNT Championship. The TNT Championship being the secondary belt to the World Championship. So, for those of you that knows about wrestling, it's like the TNT Championship is like the Intercontinental Championship of AEW. It's their secondary belt, to where guys who aren't in the main event, but they aren't like deep down in the card, it's a title for them to fight over. Like, they're not in the main event, but they're not jobbers either. There's nothing like that. So, this match came about because John Silver cost Orange Cassidy the match, his TNT Championship match. And I didn't really care about this match, so I kind of just fast forward, and Orange Cassidy won with his finisher, the Beach Break. So that's about it. It was an okay match from what I saw. I didn't really care about it that much. I'm not really interested in either John Silver or Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy, he's a good wrestler. He's okay. I'm just not a big fan of him, and I don't know next to nothing about John Silver, so this is a match that I just did not care about. So, yes, that was the match. Let's see what's next. I believe the next match on the card was it was the women's championship match, I believe, between Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shida. So This match came about because Nyla Rose was antagonizing Hikaru Shida all the time. Oh, no, it wasn't. No, that's not the next match. I'm sorry. The next match was Darby Allin versus Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship. And this match is notable because this is the first time Cody has ever went by Cody Rhodes ever since he left the WWE, because I believe the WWE owned the rights to his last name Rhodes, which it didn't really make sense because his wife Brandy Rhodes can use the Rhodes name, his brother Dustin Rhodes can use the Rhodes name, but Cody couldn't. So WWE owned the rights to the Rhodes name, but in a recent lawsuit or a court case for the trademark to the Rhodes name, Cody won. So now he can, I'm assuming he's going to go by Cody Rhodes as going forward. So Cody Rhodes is the current TNT champion. He's actually a two-time TNT champion because he lost the belt to the Dark Order leader, Mr. Brody Lee, but Cody returned and he won the championship back. And so now he's facing Darby Allin, who Darby Allin's whole thing is that he wants to be the face of TNT. If he wins the championship, then he would be the face of TNT, which is the program where Dynamite is at, TNT. So that's like the TV station is what I'm saying. The TV station that airs AEW. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So that's Darby's whole thing. He wants to be the face of TNT. So Darby has had a lot of momentum. The crowd loves him. Me personally, I also think he's okay. I'm not a big fan of him, but I don't hate him either. He's cool. I'm gonna need to see more of his matches though, so I can really like him, because right now I'm apathetic towards him, because he's cool. He's a good wrestler. He's a great seller. It's just that I don't personally like him as much as other people do. And then Cody, like I said, he's the founder of AEW, and yes, he's built a reputation for putting over young talent. By the way, the term "putting over" is when a more established wrestler lets a younger, unproven wrestler win. So that's what putting someone over means. So he's garnered a bit of a reputation for putting younger guys over, and that's the same here, because even though Cody took I believe 90, maybe even 95% of this match, he gave a lot to Darby, and Darby, they fought before in the past, but I don't believe Darby has ever pinned Cody. So, but in this match, though, Darby actually wins because they were doing a little cover off, a little cover pinning predicament, switching between covers between each other. Cody would get a cover on Darby, Darby would get a cover on Cody. But in the end, Darby got the better of that whole situation, and he wins the TNT Championship. So Darby Allin is the new TNT champion, and Cody, he's gracious. He hands the belt over to Darby, and it's great. So sportsmanship, great sportsmanship. This match was good too. This match was Cody took I would say 90% of the offense, because Darby is a smaller guy. So not to say that Darby didn't get any offense at all, but it's just that Cody is much bigger than Darby. So Cody took a lot of this match. Just constant submissions, and there was one point where Cody hit his finisher, the Crossroads. He hit his finisher off the top rope, so that was devastating. But in the end, Darby prevails and wins the TNT Championship, but out comes Taz, Taz from ECW fame. Taz and his boys, Ricky Starks and Brian Cage, they come out and they beat up Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes. They're actually about to break Darby's arm, but Will Hobbs comes in for the save. Will Hobbs being an up and coming wrestler. So, all in all, good match. Interesting pre-show, pre-match, post-match shenanigans to further the feud between Darby and Taz, and by extension, Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. And it's cool to see Will Hobbs getting all this exposure, working with all these other talented guys. So next up on the card, now I believe the next match was the Dream Match, FTR versus the Young Bucks. So this match was, like I said, was years in the making, like 3 years in the making, because 3 years ago, FTR, who were going by the Revival in the WWE, was Twitter beefing with the Young Bucks. They were beefing with each other on Twitter, like taking shots at each other. And in fact, FTR, their name, they took that from the Young Bucks and Cody and all of them, and they rebranded it to Free the Revival, because that's what they were going for. That's what they were referred to at the time, but it really stood for Fuck the Revival. Pardon my language, but that's what it stood for. So, yes, that's where the name FTR came from, is because Cody and the Young Bucks, they would mock the Revival with that whole moniker. But 3 years later, we're finally here, and this match was, it had a simple premise. It was Matt Jackson, who was a part of the Young Bucks. His leg is messed up. I believe his knee or his ankle was messed up. And a member of FTR, I believe it was Dash Wheeler. I always forget their names. I think it was Dash Wheeler and Dax Harwood. I forget which one is which. Their names are really weird, and they sound like porn star names. So their names are really weird. It was one of the members of FTR, and they injured their fist with this match, in this match. So it was Matt's leg versus one of the members of FTR's fists, because both of them are injured, and there was a lot of offense on either, I believe it was Dash Wheeler's, Dax Harwood. Their names are just weird. They have weird names. I believe it was Dax Harwood. Hardwood. You see what I mean about their names sounding like porn star names? Like, Dax Harwood sounds like a porn star name, doesn't it? Like, doesn't it? But anyway, I believe it was Dax Harwood who injured his hand, and there was a lot of offense on focusing on Matt's leg and Dax's hand. So, this was a great match. It lived up to the hype. The Young Bucks, they tried to fly because they're high flyers. They do a lot of flips. And FTR being the more ground submission-based team. So their styles meshed well. It lived up to the hype. And it ended with Dash Wheeler, the other member of FTR, abandoning his philosophy of no flips, just fists. And he actually went for a springboard 450. A springboard is when you jump off the ropes and hit a move. That's what a springboard is. And he misses Matt Jackson, who super kicks Dash Wheeler, and pins him, and they win the AEW Tag Team Championships. This is a big moment because before this match, the Young Bucks said that if they lose, they will never challenge for the AEW Championships ever again. So, this was cool to see. The Young Bucks are finally champions, even though it's sad that FTR got a 2 month run, I believe. Uh, it's sad, but I hope that they're gonna get another reign with the tag team championships, and hopefully it's gonna be longer. So, yes, it was a good match. Probably match of the night. Uh, I think I don't know if it's my favorite match because the main event was also a really good match. I don't know if it was my favorite match, but I definitely think that it was a great match. 5 out of 5 stars for me. It was a great match. So we move on to the women's title match between Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shida. So these two have fought before, and in that match, Hikaru Shida actually beat Nyla Rose to win the AEW Women's Championship, and this is the rematch. Nyla Rose, she's like this big monster. I believe she's also transgender. So, yeah. Do with that information as you wish. So, Nyla Rose, she has Vicky Guerrero, who was also in the WWE, as her manager. And as both of them were outside, Vicky actually hits Hikaru Shida with a kendo stick, which is like a big weapon, a sword-like thing. It's not a sword, obviously, but it's like a wooden sword. And she just whacks Hikaru Shida in the leg with that kendo stick. And that's like, it's like, for the rest of the match, Hikaru Shida's leg is like her Achilles heel, because Nyla Rose keeps targeting the leg. She keeps on pounding the leg, putting on submissions, using her body weight to just land on Hikaru Shida's leg, and Hikaru Shida has to fight out of it, you know? So, the match ends, actually, with a whole lot of knees to Nyla Rose's face, and that finally put her down for the count. And Hikaru Shida retains the AEW Women's Championship. After the match, Vicky Guerrero is getting in Nyla Rose's face. Vicky actually slaps Nia, and I was just like, oh, this is it. Nyla's gonna destroy Vicky. But she doesn't. Vicky walks off, and Nyla just slowly follows her to the back. So I believe they're planting the seeds for an eventual Nyla Rose face turn. Babyface being a good guy, and a heel being a bad guy. That's what it is. A babyface is a good guy, and a heel is a bad guy, in wrestling terms. So, they may be planting the seeds for an eventual Nyla Rose babyface turn. I'd be open for that. She's a good heel. It will be interesting to see her as a face if this is where it's going. So, this match was good. I liked it. Next match is the Ultimate Deletion, or the Elite Deletion match, I believe that's what they referred it to. It's a cinematic match, which is a match shot like a movie. It's Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. So, these two are fighting again. So, I was uncomfortable with them fighting because the last time they fought, Matt Hardy got an actual concussion and he was knocked out. So, that's what happened the last time they fought. And I was a little nervous going into this, and I also didn't really care about it. But, as the match went on, I actually found myself liking it, because this match was just crazy. It had interference from Santana and Ortiz, who are stablemates with Sammy in a huge faction called the Inner Circle, and so it had run-ins from them, but it also had run-ins from a tag team called the Private Party that Matt Hardy is mentoring, and it was just a fun match. It was a fun match to watch, which is uh, a huge saying a lot about the quality of this match because I'm usually not a fan of cinematic matches, but I like this match. Probably my favorite cinematic match. So uh, it it got serious near the end though because near the end Matt Hardy speared Sammy Guevara through a table, two tables. The back of Sammy Guevara's head is just bleeding, shades of the last time they fought when Matt Hardy legit got knocked out. Uh, and after that, it was all Matt from there. Like, he just brutalizes Sammy with a chair. He hits Sammy in the face with a chair, smacks Sammy's head with the chair on the concrete, and that finally got the pin. It got serious for a minute there. So, uh, Matt Hardy pins Sammy Guevara. He wins. The Private Party come in. They help Sammy. They help Matt put Sammy in the trash, and they just take him off somewhere, and they're celebrating. So it started off kind of like funny, but it got very serious at the end. So yes, it was a good match. I liked it. Also, uh, this also had run-ins from Gregory Shane Helms, the Hurricane, and Gangrel. So this match was like crazy. It was fun, but it was also very serious. Got serious at the end. Uh, the next match, Chris Jericho versus MJF, with the stipulation being if MJF beats Chris Jericho, he can join the Inner Circle. So it's a heel versus heel match, bad guy versus bad guy, and I wasn't really interested in this match, and plus it came at an unfortunate time because it had to follow the FTR Young Bucks match and the Elite Deletion match. So this had an unfortunate place on the card, especially because they're starting to let fans in attendance far away from the wrestlers, but they're still starting to let fans. There's AEW is slowly starting to let actual fans in the arena to watch the show, so you can see that the crowd was tired. But it was an okay match. They were healing it up on each other, but the match ends when Chris Jericho was wanted to hit MJF with a bat, but MJF does the Eddie Guerrero and just fakes being hit with the bat, and the referee sees it, and she's actually about to disqualify Chris, but MJF rolls Chris up, has a handful of tights, 1, 2, 3, MJF gets the win, and now he is a part of the Inner Circle. So, and it's gonna be cool to see where that goes. Interestingly enough, MJF and Chris Jericho are buddy after this. Chris Jericho's like, "Oh, you got me, you got me." Also, MJF's bodyguard Wardlow, he also joins the Inner Circle, so it's a 2-for-1. So it's a good match. It had an unfortunate place on the card. Now the main event: Eddie Kingston versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. So Jon Moxley was originally Dean Ambrose in WWE, but he left and he joined AEW, and now he's their world champion. Eddie Kingston knew Jon from their days on the Indies, and Eddie feels like Jon sold out when he went to WWE. And that's what this whole feud is about. Eddie believes that Jon sold out, and now he's back to he's like, look, I'm gonna beat you, I'm gonna win that title, I'm gonna show it to my mom, I'm gonna tell her this is why you don't have a grandchild, This is why I didn't give you a daughter-in-law. It's because of this. So, that's the whole gist. And John Moxley, he's reluctant because that's his friend. That's his former friend. He doesn't want to hurt him, but he has to because Eddie's stubborn. So, this was a great match. I loved this match. It was very brutal. Also, I forgot to mention this was an I Quit match. So, an I Quit match is basically like you beat your opponent up so bad to where they have to say I quit, and that's how you win the match. Your opponent has to say I quit. So, this was a very brutal match to watch. There was at one point where Eddie brings in these thumbtacks. He slams John onto the thumbtacks, and then he gets rubbing alcohol and just pours it all over John's back, which has the thumbtack wounds, and it's just ugh, ugh, ugh. You can actually see thumbtacks in John's head. So this match was very brutal. Both men were bleeding. Uh, there are some nasty shots with a chair. There's actually a barbed wire bat that they use on each other, a Negan style barbed wire bat. Not, wait, yeah, Negan style. I'm sorry, I paused there. I forgot that. I was like, is Negan's bat have nails or is it barbed wire? But then I remembered it is barbed wire. So yeah, a Negan style barbed wire bat. They hit each other with it. Eddie actually takes a piece of barbed wire from uh, the bat and just starts beating John Moxley with it. But in the end, John wraps the barbed wire around his wrist and just chokes out Eddie with the barbed wire to the point where Eddie has to say, I quit. So Eddie quits and John Moxley retains the AEW Championship. So this is a great match, a very emotional match. They're just screaming at each other to just quit already. And this is a great match. I liked it. I didn't like it. I loved it. At the end of the match, Kenny Omega comes out, which builds to their match at a later date. And all in all, yeah, that was it. That was AEW Full Gear. Great pay-per-view. Every match was a banger. There's not really a bad match. Every match is great. All in all, really great pay-per-view. I give it 2 thumbs up and a J3T stamp of approval. Sorry that this is a long video. It's like, I'm looking at the timer right now, and it's 33 minutes. So, sorry for the long video, but there was just a lot in this pay-per-view to talk about. So, anyway, that's about it from me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. But if you really like me, consider subscribing and turn on that bell so you can always know when I upload. Deuces.